Greetings, friend, and welcome to your sleep story. My name is Amir, and I am honored to be the voice you hear before bed tonight. I will continue my immersive history series, in which I talk for a lot longer than usual, and in each story, you will travel to a different period of history, meet people who live there, and learn about that world. Tonight, you will visit ancient Athens and learn from the ancient Stoics. You will learn how to maintain peace and balance no matter what the world throws at you. Following the story, there will be lol affirmations. Additionally, I hope you enjoy it. If you have any recommendations for additional historical sites we should visit in this series, please share them in the comments section. Additionally, if you frequently watch my channel and haven't subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you could do so. Alright, let's begin the relaxation session, which will take a few minutes before tonight's sleep story. I'll count down from 10 to 1, and as I do, you can relax more and more. 10. Feel the support of the bed, the floor, or whatever you're lying on tonight. Feel the support of the earth, our home, and our unwavering support beneath all of that. As you become more conscious of that profound, unwavering support, try to relax a bit more now. Relax a bit more into this moment. 9. You are safe. Let my voice serve as a safety anchor tonight. Be a friend. Know that my voice will only ever lead you to safe places. With that sense of security provided to you now, let yourself immerse yourself in this moment more. Feel into your body now. Number 8. Where are you still holding? Where do you still feel pain or tension? It might be in your thighs, lower legs, feet, or even you're just let it go now. 7. The day is over. Regardless of whether it's in your face, hands, arms, neck, shoulders, or gut, whatever has been, whatever will be, whatever thoughts you may be experiencing, they don't serve you right now. Therefore, when and if thoughts come, don't fight them. Instead, see them for what they are. Thoughts are a natural part of being human. As they come, notice 6. This is your moment. This is your time. You deserve to rest. We all do. Let them go. Let them float away like leaves on a moonlit river, or clouds drifting in a starlit sky. Let that reality help you to come to this time more and more, to get closer to resting deeply, to keep letting go more, and to realize that there is always 5 peace within of you. See if you can find that friend tonight. It is a continuous friend who is waiting to be felt. Find that serenity within yourself. Maybe give yourself permission to be a little thankful right now for your shelter tonight, for the chance to relax with people you love. 3. Start using your imagination. Now you are on a wooden sailboat on the Mediterranean Sea, safe and gazing up at the horizon and the night sky. 2. Check in with your body again. Your body has worked hard for you. Distance is your destination. Ancient Athens. Throughout this story, you will always be protected, supported, and held. So, let yourself be absorbed in this ancient world as I tell you tonight's sleep story. The water is silent, and there is a slow, unending silence as the boat moves forward on winds too gentle to be disturbed. Today is the moment to give it some rest and to let it go fully. You sit beneath the open sky, wrapped in the night air, feeling the world moving slowly beneath you. The stars burn high above clear, and the water does not fight against the hull or the oars when they dip below the surface. There is only a soft ripple and a murmur before the silence returns. Athens is a city that never completely sleeps. Somewhere inside its stone walls, there are still thinkers. Sharp, their icy light, unshaken by clouds. They monitor the earth with unwavering patience. A flicker of torchlight comes on the horizon. You are in ancient Greece in the year 281 BCE. The world is broken. The great empires of the past have splintered, and the map is a moving thing. Awakening voices murmur in the dim colonnades, minds reaching beyond themselves, striving for order in a world of shifting sanctums that rise and fall with the seasons. But here in Athens, the ancient ways are still in place. The city no longer governs as it once did, but it still serves as the peaceful center of inquiry for restless minds looking for something bigger than themselves. In the painted colonials of the Stoa Poikile, the Stoics you have been invited to walk among them, listen to them, think, and join in on a conversation that has spanned generations, but not yet. Right now, you are still on the water, surrounded by the silence of the moment. They talk about the virtue of reason and how a man can remain firm, even as the winds of the world change around him. How many people have traveled this path before? You, how many have stood on the decks of ships, just like this, their eyes raised to the sky, wondering if there is meaning? The patterns above the stars shift, but they do not change. The night, the salt air in your lungs, and the quiet pull of the stars above you allow you to breathe deeply and allow the thought to settle. The sea is yours. The night is long, and the lanterns glimmer on the horizon does not fade, even though the city beyond it is still invisible. Athens waits just beyond the horizon. So for the time being, you wait for them to arrive. The boat rocks with the slow breathing of the sea, and there is no need to hurry. The wood beneath you is warm from the heat of the day. Darkness is a place of marble and dust, and there are voices that never stop asking what it means to live well. You close your eyes for a moment and feel the motion of the water, the rhythm that has carried travelers across these seas for centuries. During the day, the air has cooled and now carries the faint scent of salt and distant land. Somewhere beyond sight, the hills of Attica stretch beneath the night, their olive groves and cypress trees turned to shadow. The path that took Socrates through the streets of Athens, which led Plato to the academy that called Zeno of Citium, to the painted stew where his teachings would shape a school of thought that outlived him, is the same one that intellectuals, soldiers, poets, and exiles have followed for millennia. If you follow the constellations for a long enough period of time, they will lead you to the edge of the world. Two places where even the names of the cities that await you are older than their shapes. Orion stands watch in the west, his belt shining brightly against the darkness, and the Pleiades shimmer faintly, a cluster of distant fire. The Stoics teach that a man should not be. He nods toward the sky, which is how we find our way. The stars don't change, only we do. He is stiff and faded by the sun, his skin darkened from years at sea, and he has the appearance of someone who has always lived with the water beneath him. He knows the rhythm of the tides the way others know the streets of their home. We came from Chios, my home, where the tiniest glimmer of dawn still lurks beyond the end of the globe. Have you ever been? He points with a calloused palm toward the east. You shake your head, and he smiles as though the response pleases him. Then you must visit one day. The best figs in all of my father was a potter and wanted me to work the wheel. But I always preferred the sea because it doesn't hold you the way the earth does. Fortunately, the wine isn't bad either. He leans back and tilts his head toward the mast as if listening to the creak of the wood. You're lucky, he says, without envy, as his eyes pass you and move toward the approaching coast, where the dark outline of Athens contrasts with the sky. Not many are invited to stand among the Stoics, he says, carefully and with a sense of reverence, as if it belongs to a different world from the one he has never visited. The sea shapes a man. One, he looks at you, curiously, but not pryingly. In Athens, they discuss bigger topics like how a person should live, how they should think, and how they should meet their fate. On a ship, you learn how to survive in a place where the winds are turning, how to tie a line and when to speak, and when to keep your mouth shut. You don't respond immediately. So the question lingers in the air and the boat rocks gently beneath you. You could say that you have learned to listen in order to understand something that is always felt to be just out of your grasp. But in reality, you aren't totally sure. The sailor seems to understand this, he only nodding as if he has already heard your response. He says, "The best journeys begin that way." Without realizing it, he falls silently and looks back toward the shore. Athens is getting closer now, and you can see the Acropolis' watchful shadow rising in the darkness and the dim glow of torches along the hills. The city is waiting, and the sky is starting to change. Athens is no longer a shadow against the sky, as the night's chilly silence gives way to something softer. Though the deep blue still lingers over the sea, a thread of gold on spools at the horizon as delicate as the first breath of morning, its harbor opens up before you like the opening of a big hand, and as the boat approaches, the water is dense with a smell of wood smoke and saline. The port is already waking up along the shoreline, and ships of all sizes are rocking. Men wade knee-deep in the shallows, carrying goods from ship to beach. Others lift sacks over their shoulders. Merchant vessels, heavy with grain and emper. Small fishing boats brought into the sand, their nets still moist from the night's catch. And movement on the docks. The world is stirring, but not yet fully awakened. Lanterns still flicker in the shadows beneath the wooden piers. A woman in a dark emation kneels by the water's edge. A pair of boys race between the crates, their laughter bright and quick, slipping between the heavier sounds of the port coming to life above. The first vendors are starting to set up shop on a sloping street that leads into the city. Clay jugs, honeycombs thick with golden syrup, figs that have been split open to reveal their dark hearts, and the boat rocks gently as it moves. She cupped it in her hands, murmuring a prayer before pressing her wet fingers to her forehead. A sailor next to you stretches and rolls his shoulders before standing Athens, looking toward the city. He says, "You'll like it." He doesn't ask whether you're ready. He just nods once and enters the dock, disappearing into the slowly moving mob. And then you see them, two figures standing just beyond the pier, waiting. A man and a woman, both dressed in the plain, draped wool of a philosopher's robe, have aged faces, but they also have a measured, steady quality to them, steadiness that comes from walking a long distance rather than from certainty, path, and being aware that the road goes on. The man observes the boats with the complacent ease of someone used to waiting. His hands are clasped behind his back, and his body has the strength of someone who has allowed the years to soften his bones. The woman stands next to him, her eyes sweeping the pier, the fingers of one hand slowly tracing the knuckles of the other. She appears older than the man, or at least initially. The silver strands in her hair gleam in the morning light. And there's something about the way she holds herself, calmness and patience, as if she's seen 100 dawns like this. One, and anticipates seeing 100 more. When her eyes meet yours, she smiles, but it's the type of grin that doesn't ask for anything from you. It just acknowledges your presence, and that's enough. The man moves forward first. The woman does not yet speak, but she merely points to the city where the streets are starting to light up with the pale gold of morning. The world is waiting, this ancient world that you are fortunate to be in. Welcome to Athens, he says, his voice steady and low, like a river that has carved its path through stone. The city is waking up around you as you step off the boat with them by your side. The day is just getting started. Feet are cool and smooth from the thousands of people who have gone before you. The air is filled with a smell of damp earth and wood smoke curling from invisible hearths of smashed olives. Left behind by an early morning vendor, the two people who accompany you are your new friends. They stroll at a controlled pace and never appear to rush. The man points to the area where the street slowly slopes upward, bordered by the whitewashed walls. Of the woman looks at him and says, "It is best to walk slowly," in a low, unperturbed voice, as if the idea had just occurred to him. That way, you see more, and you do not miss what is worth noticing. The houses are still silent in the early hush. They walk in silence for a short while, their sandals touching the old stones, and then the lady speaks, cocking her head toward him. "You weren't always so patient," she says, laughing. He exhales from his nose, not quite a laugh, but something close. You shake your head. She grins, and he tells a story. Then he exhales once more, shaking his head, but he does not stop her. When he was younger, he wanted to be a soldier, but she starts out of pride rather than duty. He wanted to be strong. To be a soldier, she raises a brow at him, knowing that he is the correct size, and she nods in satisfaction. He then trained, learning how to maneuver in the phalanx as a man among men by carrying a shield atop a spear. However, the day before his first combat, he spotted Descartes' cax in the distance, its wheels heavy with clay pots. Voices whisper from an open doorway. The warm smell of baked bread spirals through the air. She pauses, allowing the city to fill the space between words. You ask what he saw, and the man responds, this time in a softer voice. The woman nods as the soldier tends to his injured friend, and he suddenly realizes something. The man's eyes are far away, as though he is seeing it again from that morning long ago. Waving a sword is easy, but knowing how to live is the harder thing. The street opens in front of you, revealing the city is awakening and extending. Toward the sun, as a multitude of merchants have started to set up their stalls in the square. A youngster is crouching next to a basin of water, pouring it over a bundle of freshly harvested herbs. The aroma of thyme and sage fills the air. Woman turns to face you, steady, friendly. And what about you? What are you looking for? She asks. As the three of you continue walking deeper into the city, toward the location where thought is found, the question lingers in the peaceful morning air. The solution is not rushed. It will arrive in due time. The streets get wider as you go farther. From the harbor and into the center of Athens, where the weight of history is etched into every stone, every column, and every echo of voices rising with wisdom. It is a place where wisdom is pursued, not as something to be acquired, but as a path that never really ends. The buildings are not as imposing as you might have thought. The majority are plain, unadorned structures made of clay and pale limestone, with whitewashed walls that reflect the sun. The wealthier residences are taller, with second stories held up by wooden beams and entrances marked by hevitha. Roads are unevenly paved in some places with enormous old slabs of stone, in others with little more than a wooden door and iron studs, but most are more modest, with small courtyards concealed behind simple facades, where roosters grow from the low-tiled roofs and pots of herbs grow in silent shade. The city is not yet hurried as humans move through the streets in measured rhythms. In the early light, a lady kneels at a doorway, her hair tied firmly under a veil, sweeps dust into the street, and a barefoot child carries a basket of figs. His tunic is slack over his slender body. The air is heavy with the odors of fresh bred clay. The last of the night's moisture has vanished, and beneath it is always the subtle scent of olive oil, the lifeblood of the world. An elderly man is crouching next to a wall, rubbing oil into the leather of his sandals with his slowly practiced fingers. City carried in a foray to every home, crammed into courtyards and kept in large jars that line kitchen walls. Your guides move through these streets with ease, knowing them as well as breath. The man points to a row of tiny stores along one side of the street. Simple wooden stalls with counters brimming with. He claims that the agora is busier there, and further forward are baskets of olives, fish, and vaults of undyed linen folded into tidy stacks. The shopkeepers wear basic tunics knotted at the waist with simple cords, and their sandals are worn smooth from years of standing on the same stretch of stone. The man's cloak is lighter, a pale ochre loosely folded over his frame, and the woman strides a little ahead, her dark blue imitation slung over her left shoulder, freeing her right arm. The wool is heavy but well worn, the folds precise and lovely in their simplicity. As you proceed, the buildings get taller, the roads get a little wider, and finally, the agora, the center of Athens, opens up in front of you. Even at this hour, it is bustling with activity, with stalls spread out under makeshift awnings, their owners praising the caliber of their goods. A group of young men stand near a bronze statue, their hair still damp from the gymnasium, wearing tunics belted over strong shoulders. Philosophers congregate beneath the colonnades, their hands gesturing in measured movements and their voices rising and falling in careful argument. Across the square, a woman pours water from a clay jug into a public fountain, the stream catching. The light cascades into the weathered stone basin nearby, and two artisans unfold a bundle of leather while having a low-key chat. These are people going about their daily lives thousands of years ago, but when you look at them, you could put them in our period without hesitation. When you see the Acropolis towering above the city, its pale limestone cliffs catching the first golden light of the morning, its temples still draped in shade, waiting for the day to begin, you realize that we are all connected. The man next to you exhales quietly, Athens, as if the woman looks at you, her face unreadable but kind, and she asks, "Do you see? The city speaks for itself, so there's no need to respond." The woman walks with a peaceful purpose, her strides steady. She moves as if the noise does not affect her, not because she does not hear it, but rather because she has long learned to let the world pass through her like water through an open hand. She looks at you sensing your unspoken words. Even though the city is bustling around her with merchants, bartering apprentices, hurrying with baskets, and voices rising and falling. Beneath the colonnades, the man next to her huffs gently. "You should know," he murmurs. She does not often speak of that. "You wonder about me," she says simply, her lips curving into the smallest smile. It is not an accusation nor a challenge, just an observation given lightly without expectation. Herself. "I was not meant to be a philosopher," she says at last. "At least, not by the thought of it," she says, raising a brow, "but here I am speaking." The man merely motions forward, then continues. She pauses, adjusting the drape of her himation where it collects at her shoulder. In Athens, a woman's place is not in the agora, the Stoa Poikile, or the symposia where men argue over wine. Instead, she is expected to stay in the house behind the courtyard. She makes a slight gesture toward a group of men gathered near a columned portico, their voices sharp with debate, their hands cutting the air in emphasis, taking care of the hearth. She stops and looks at you. Is that surprising? You think, for a second, this city is full of wisdom and learning, but you have seen few women here, their presence slipping between the columns like shadows. She points to an elderly woman walking by wearing dark robes and carrying a basket of fresh wool over one shoulder. She says, "There have always been great women thinkers who listen, who learn, who seek wisdom, not only for themselves, but for the world beyond them." She looks up momentarily, as if remembering something. But she continues walking with the same quiet purpose as your guide. "I was fortunate to be far away because my father thought that everyone should have access to knowledge. He allowed me to listen when the Stoics spoke and did not dismiss me when I asked a lot of questions. The man next to her still laughs when I ask questions, and she does not deny it. He taught me to think, observe, and weigh what is and is not under my control. It wasn't always simple," she continues, looking ahead with an unreadable expression. "Men don't always listen to women, even when the words are the same." She gives a slight shrug, but the world is what it is. And a Stoic person doesn't gripe about the wind. She only pulls her cloak tighter. The man nods as though they've discussed this before on a previous quiet morning under these same colonnades. You ask, and she tilts her head thoughtfully before looking at you with a steady, serene expression. "Now, I simply put, as I was taught," she says. The three of you pass the marketplace and head into a more peaceful street where the temperature is cooler and the city noise fades to a whisper. She silences herself for a while, and then the guy talks in a softer voice than before. "This was once the home of a great theme man who could change Athens' will with just his words." Ota nods toward a modest doorway with a chipped frame where innumerable shoulders have passed through Dio's knees. He walks a silent acknowledgement of the past, tracing the wall's edge with his fingers. They claim he spoke with pebbles in his mouth to train his thigh nods. Yeah, but sometimes the world listens to strength before wisdom. The lady looks at him. He built his voice like a mason builds a wall, stone by stone, word by word. A voice is only as strong as the thought behind it. He says, they are friendly and understanding, and they do not fight like men do in the marketplace. You pass through a small passageway with high walls on either side that block out the morning sun. A woman is standing in a recessed doorway, grinding something with a stone. The rhythmic motion she hums under her breath, her voice as old as the act itself. The woman next to you slows down a little as she watches. She says, there is wisdom in this, too, in knowing how to prepare food, how to mend cloth, how to keep a household in order. She doesn't say this apologetically, and there is no bitterness in her voice. The world describes philosophers as men in white robes who speak in colonnades. But I have witnessed wisdom in the hands of an elderly woman in need of bread because she knows precisely when the dough has had enough and when to let it rest. Her voice has no sense of diminished value. It is just the fact that she meets your gaze. The street opens again, and the Acropolis suddenly looms above you, the golden light of sunrise touching its marble columns. The woman follows your gaze, and she adds, we are almost there to understand. The world is one thing, to live in it well is another. In a place where men have sat and conversed for generations, with questions posed but never fully addressed, he smiles and his face warms with laughter. You pause, looking between them, and ask, will I find answers there? The woman's expression is unreadable but kind. Perhaps, she says, but a better question will you leave with better questions. She starts to walk once more in the direction of the Stoa Poikile, or painted porch, where the city's brightest minds have congregated for centuries, and where voices, carried by the wind, have shaped and reshaped thought itself. You follow without hesitation until you reach this location, which is a place of both beauty and profound contemplation. This is the exact location where Zeno of Citium started teaching. His philosophy approximately 300 BCE, giving rise to what is now known as Stoicism. As you get closer, you can hear the sound of serious conversation as students and philosophers congregate in small groups to share their voices. The aroma of olive trees and the far-off smell of freshly made bread from surrounding vendors fill the air as you breathe in this moment, and the lovely vibe of this area, combining into a peaceful buzz of inquiry and debate. And as you let go of anything that isn't useful at the moment, you immerse yourself more and more in this area of kindness and curiosity. Your guides bring you to a man with a dignified presence, standing close to one of the painted walls. Cleanthes, the current head of the Stoic school and Zeno's successor, has devoted his life to the study and teaching of Stoic philosophy, embodying its principles through his own journey from a water courier to a revered philosopher. His robe is simple but immaculate, and his hair is touched with silver. This is a very peaceful location where we seek to comprehend the essence of virtue, the root to idiomonia, and the harmony of living in accordance with nature. He turns to face you, his eyes expressing kindness and wisdom. "Welcome," he says, his voice echoing with calm authority as the morning progresses. You locate a spot among the students, the cool marble beneath you, the soothing rustle of nature, the wind rustling the leaves on the trees, the occasional birds chirp, and the distant sound of the sea. Scrolls and the area's overall calmness provide a peaceful background against which Clenth observes you for a little while. His eyes are neither expecting nor searching, and there is no need for introductions, just presence. The morning is getting warmer, however, the air is cool here in the Stoa, shaded by the colonnade. Clean then starts talking, and everyone's attention is focused on him. Cleanthes's slow, methodical voice is similar to this city before you, can see clearly at morning before the market awakens, before the cries and bartering, before the dust rises from the streets. However, as the day goes on, noise and movement take hold, and distractions press in. The same thing occurs within us as passions rise and fear takes hold. He stops and looks at the street outside the colonnade, where a vendor calls out to passing men while holding a jug of freshly pressed oil to the light. Tell me he's here. Pleasure appeals to us. Before long, the mind is no longer our own. It is pushed, tugged, and driven like a boat caught in the wind. The question sinks into you like a stone in distilled water. Looking back at you, have you ever been taken away by wrath, desire, or worry? He asks. It is not our nature to be without emotion, he adds. But the Stoic asks, who is when you give in to your wrath? It controls you. When you pursue pleasure mindlessly, you are its slave. When you fear tragedy before it comes, you have already given over your serenity to something that hasn't even occurred. He gestures up toward the sky where the sun is starting to crest, the rooftops spilling golden light across his knees. His expression calm. The philosopher's job is not to erase feeling, but to govern it. He must know what is within his control and what is not. Whether we fight against it or not, the world goes as it will. The stones change. The tides rise and fall, and we question ourselves what is truly ours and what cannot be stolen from us. Regardless of the whims of fate, his gaze always returns to you steadily, and the teacher is now silent. And the students around you are listening with their bodies still, and their minds still processing what he has spoken. Then, as if to make this moment even more remarkable, profound, and even more unforgettable, it starts to rain just outside the colonnade where you are sitting. As you sit there, you listen to the sound of the rain and the philosopher's speech, which makes you feel even closer to these folks in this incredibly moving and profound moment. Instant, think about this. If a man insults you, what has he done? Has he hurt your body? Leanthe asks. No. Has he taken anything from you? No. He spreads his hands as though offering something. Weightless. But if you become irate or feel hurt, it is not his words that have hurt you. Rather, it is your own assessment of them. You have no control over what other people do, and you cannot dictate the will of thee. The rain continues to fall as Cleanthes looks upon you, not as a teacher assessing a student's comprehension, but as a guy offering something basic. But you can control yourself, and if you command your own mind, what else is there to fear? Essentially, he says, you have come here to learn, but learning is not enough. You must live. Therefore, I ask you this: how will you carry this with you when you leave this place and return to the chaos and dust of the outside world? The question is not meant to be answered right away. Rather, it is meant to be held to be turned. Thought is not something to be hurried, or wisdom something to be absorbed in a single day. The pupils surrounding you stay still. Clean does not get up from where he sits or press for any replies. Some people are still observing Clean, while others are looking off into the distance. Cleanthes turns to look at an older student who is seated close by, a man with weathered skin who has been around the sea. Tells me that Cleanthe asks him, when was the last time you felt angry? After a brief hesitancy, the man confesses 2 nights later that a merchant had defrauded him. I had paid for a length of fine linen, but when I unrolled it at home, I discovered the weave was poor and the threads were weak. Leanthes nods. What did you do? I went back to him, and he claims that I told him he had been dishonest. But he swore he had done nothing of the sort. I wanted to yell at him, to humiliate him in front of his clients, since I knew he was lying. But then I recalled what you said, and I realized that I could let my rage flow through me like a wave over a stone. Cleanthe tilts his head slightly. Unso, I went. The man says simply, I let it go. The merchant stays the same, but I also stayed the same. A whisper of recognition spreads among the pupils. Do you see? Clinthi turns back to face you. Anger does not punish the one who mistreated you. If a storm hits the sea, the sailor changes his sails instead of cursing the waves. If another man's activities cause you mental distress, the struggle is fought within you, not in him. The woman next to him says, You're a guide. And she shifts. We do not expect a tree not to bend in the wind. Clinth continues, and we do not. Ask the heart not to feel loss. Stoicism is not the absence of sorrow. And what of sorrow? She asks. What of grief? Clinth responds without hesitation. He stops. A father loses a child. A wife loses a husband. A man loses his home, his fortune, his health. These are real things, and they matter. But they are not grief or the absence of emotion. Rather, they are the knowledge that these things will happen and that they won't break us. The woman next to him studies him intently, her wrinkled face unreadable, and she replies, At last, cleanliness is not both, but which is within your control. I wonder if you are grieving because you lost what you loved, or because you thought you would never lose it. After a few period of silence, she says, Expectation. Clinthi addresses the misconception that we possess anything outside of ourselves, and that the universe will change to suit our desires. He stares at the pupils in front of him. This city, these streets, these stones, these doors will all fall to time. Do we feel hopeless? No, because we knew from the day we were born that it was not ours to keep. Hold on to what you love. He continues. You will be wronged. You will experience loss. You will be tempted by fleeting pleasures, but keep in mind that no one is your own master. Grief will come, but it won't own you. The world will push upon you. He goes on. Fortune will rise and fall, as it does for all men. No one is strong enough to withstand misfortune, and no one is wise enough to not control themselves first. The woman next to him, your guide, looks at you with a hint of amusement, which he interprets as her saying that what you have learned here is nothing until it is a philosopher, is not clever because he has heard the appropriate words. A carpenter is not talented because he has exquisite tools. A musician is not wonderful because he has learned the sounds. And a lived Clinth nods his expression steadily. Possess, it is something you practice. So I ask, how you will live once you leave this place. Your guides will rise and walk without hurry, and the woman puts a gentle touch on your shoulder. You will consider this, she says, but for the time being, you will rest. You follow Clenith without hesitation as he walks and turns with the same calm assurance she has carried throughout the city. Cleaneth stays behind him, his words settling in the air. He says a kind goodbye, and as you move away, the painted porch recedes. The woman leads you through a small hallway beyond thecolums, beyond the open courts. The smell of ancient parchment clings to the air as you pass through a doorway, and then more stone walls give way to corridors, the rain still visible. The woman, your constant companion, walks silently, and you too are at ease as she now appears to be guiding you to safety, to quiet the path, veers back, and you enter a tiny room that is warm and straightforward with an immediate purpose. A low couch leans against the distant wall, its surface covered in soft linen, its folds neatly waiting. The room is simple but not empty. It exudes the sense of care from hands that have smoothed the bedding, from footsteps that have been through it. A tiny table sits next to it, holding a clay lamp, the light blazing slowly. A woven basket in the corner has extra blankets, thick and well worn, making sure everything is in order. The woman points to the couch and says in a hushed voice, "This is your place to rest. No one will disturb you. You are safe."
Gosh.
She then approaches the lamp and slightly adjusts the wick to make the flame burn. The woman looks toward the doorway where the open shutters expose the night beyond. The rain is continuous now, neither harsh nor ephemeral, and it falls in the courtyard beyond pooling in shallow pools. Lower the time has passed to day, and it is almost night, and you feel exhausted. The sound is nothing more than a gentle rhythm against the distant, steady rain. That will last until morning as the woman turns back to you with a sympathetic face. Pools are slipping down the stone eaves in thin, shimmering streams. The world will carry on tomorrow, but tonight there is nothing you need to do. Sleep well, she says, and then she disappears without saying anything more. The night extends past the open shutters, and even if you close your eyes, the day still lingers inside of you. You have strolled through ancient Athens today, witnessing its life, thinking, and rhythm. You have stood where thinkers have stood under the covered porch, and you pause to consider the purification of the human race and your new pals are at a place that is far from you in both time and space, but it is also very close to your heart in many ways. Whether you stay or leave, you may remember or forget some of it now, but for the time being, you don't have to do it. For now, you are resting. Your body is becoming softer. Your mind is quieting with sleepy affirmations. And you are precisely where you are supposed to be. You can let go of any thoughts that are not helpful to you. since you are surrounded by warmth. Rest in safety. The world will take care of itself. You can relax. You are supported in the same way that the earth supports you. Your breathing is calm and steady, and every aspect of you is relaxing. You are free to relax without feeling guilty or anxious. You are drifting deeper and deeper into slumber. You can have faith that everything is going according to plan. You are weightless. You may give yourself over to the peaceful rhythm of the night. You are slipping into a deep, nourishing sleep, and your thoughts are as gentle as clouds as they pass by. You are accepting sleep with open arms, and you know that you are enough, loved, and cared for. The world is peaceful, and you are a part of it. You are entering the deepest serenity you have ever experienced. Nothing is urgent. The night holds you. You can let your body to fall into comfort and ease. Your breath is leading you into sleep, and everything you need is already within you. Sleep is a gift, and you are totally embracing it. You are safe, at peace, and sleeping. Your body is relaxing, and your mind is quieting. You are in the right place and can let go of any negative ideas. You are surrounded by warmth. Rest in safety. The world will take care of itself. You can relax. You are supported in the same way that the earth supports you. Your breathing is calm and steady, and every aspect of you is relaxing. You may relax without feeling guilty or anxious. You are drifting deeper and deeper into slumber. You can have faith that everything is going according to plan. You are weightless. Come breathe. You can give yourself over to the peaceful rhythm of the you are, slipping into a deep, nourishing sleep at night, and your thoughts are as gentle as clouds as they pass by. You are welcoming sleep with open arms, and you know that you are loved and cared for. The night holds you, and you may allow your body to relax and find peace because you are enough. Are you falling asleep because of your breathing? You have everything you need already. There is silence in the world, and you are a part of it. You are entering the most profound tranquility you've ever experienced. You are completely accepting the gift of sleep. You are secure. You are a tranquility. You are sleeping.